We have another round of Discotek Media Blu-rays with a brand new release and 2 upgrades.
It's morphin' time!
Hello, this is Soundout here, and welcome to another Discotek Media Blu-ray review. This month, I picked up Kamen Rider Stronger, Lupin '3 Special Collection 2, and Patlabor, the Mobile Police Early Days OVA series. This is interesting, because this Stronger is brand new in North America. Lupin and Patlabor aren't. And so let's talk about the differences between previous releases and those, as well as what's cool about Stronger. I love doing these videos, and if you enjoy them, hit the like button, hit the comment section, hit subscribe to the notification bell, and hit the hype button if it's available to you. Let's begin. Let's start with arguably the easiest release of these to talk about. It's Lupin '3 Specials Collection 2, containing specials 6 to 10 from 1994 to 1998. This is following in the footsteps of Collection 1, and that is the next 5 Lupin TV specials: Dragon of Doom, Pursuit of Harry Treasure, Secret of Twilight Gemini, Island of Assassins, and Tokyo Crisis. Now, with this set, we actually did get all 5 of these previous specials released on single Blu-rays. They all had their own individual releases from Discotek Media, and they all 5 of them had, and this is even a DVD combo pack, and all 5 had English dubs. So with Collection 1, which Collection 1 was interesting, because Collection 1, 2 of the specials had never been released in HD before. So it was the first time that they came out in HD. You can go check out my review of this collection, which was in a previous video. This one was a little bit different, because it's like, all right, there's 2 specials that we never had in HD. This one is just I don't want to say repacking, but reconfiguring these 5 releases into ultimately what is, as with the first collection, a 2-disc set. It's not just repacking the 5 existing discs, it is actually putting together 2 brand new discs. Now, of course, the question always comes up, did every bonus feature from those previous releases make its way over to the new one? Well, let's take a look, because that's not what we do on this channel, especially since I have all the previous releases. We can take a look, compare and contrast, and figure out what is there and what isn't there, if anything is missing. So Lupin Specials Collection 2, unlike Collection 1, where we had stuff that was never on Blu-ray before, Collection 2 was entirely released on Blu-ray prior, and this could have just been a repack of the 5 discs, but they did re-author the discs to put them into one. So we have, on disc 1, we got 6, 7, and 8, Dragon of Doom, Pursuit of Harry Treasure, and The Secret of the Twilight Gemini. And then, of course, in our setup menu, we actually have English and Japanese for all 3, because they all had English dubs, hence why they were previously released. Now, for bonus features, we got vintage credit sequences, the Dragon of Doom Art Gallery, Secret of Harry Treasure Art Gallery, Secret of Twilight Gemini Art Gallery, plus the Twilight Gemini alternate dub and alternate animation sequences, plus liner notes, and a vintage English dub Easter egg. So all those are included here. So then disc 2, of course, we got Island of Assassins and Tokyo Crisis. Just to double check, I don't need to do this too much. These are the same HD transfers that we've already had, so if you had any of those previous releases, or if you're curious about the quality, they all look really good. They're well transferred, they're well remastered. I was getting a nice shot. Look at that leaf. Look at that leaf right there. So yeah, it's the same exact versions we got before, they're just on new discs. So of course, just like the others, we got English 5.1, English 2.0, Japanese 2.0, plus the subtitles. So for features, we have the Secret of Twilight Gemini edited version, which I assume just couldn't fit on the previous disc since there's already 3 specials plus all that other stuff. So they stuck it on here. But then we have the vintage credit sequences, we have the Island of Assassins and Tokyo Crisis art galleries, and liner notes. So everything is included here. But for double checking's sake, let's go check the features on the previous 5 single releases to make sure they're all made it over to the new collection. So starting off with Dragon of Doom, here's our bonus features, English credits and liner notes. Those both made it over. For the Pursuit of Harry Treasure, we have the vintage English credits, a Homophobia in the 90s anime essay, which I thought was very good, and liner notes, and those all made it over to the new collection. For the Secret of Twilight Gemini and the features, we've got the edited English dub, which we know made it, the vintage English credits, the original Digipaint scenes, and liner notes. All that stuff should be in the galleries. Sometimes when it says liner notes here, it says liner notes over there. Sometimes art galleries, some slight changes, but from what I can tell without thumbing through each page side by side with 2 TVs set up, all the stuff is included. They wouldn't leave anything behind. For For Island of Assassins, there was just liner notes and a credits collection. And then for Tokyo Crisis, there was vintage news credits and liner notes. So, far as I can tell, everything from the prior single releases has made it over to the new collection, just put onto 2 discs instead of 5. One last thing I did want to note, the art galleries on these discs do contain the packaging art for the single releases, so you're not even missing out on anything there. That way, if you want to see what the packaging looked like on the singles, they're there, so that means you haven't lost anything. They even have the backs and all the details, so I think it's great. Even the disc art, so you've got all that going on. Plus, of course, there's art galleries for the specials themselves. I just like including the packaging art for the re-releases, so that way if you never had the singles and you're just getting the collections and you wanted to see what the packaging art looked like, there you go. It's there, available. So ultimately, if you already own Dragon of Doom, Harry Mouse Treasure, Twilight Gemini, Island of Assassins, and Tokyo Crisis in singles, you don't technically need Special Collection 2, right? All these existed on Blu-ray, all the things from here made it to here. You don't technically need to buy this. Now, for me, I will gladly have a matching set. Because look, it matches really well with Collection 1, which I needed for the 2 specials that weren't in HD before, and I believe there's 2 more, or it's either 1 or 2 more specials that have never been in HD that'll be in a future collection. And I also like how we got Zenigata on the reverse spine for Collection 1, and we got Jigen on the second one. And I imagine that with the other collections, we'll get Goemon and Fujiko on 2 more. I think there's going to have to be 5 of these in total, or maybe it's 4. I don't remember exactly. But there's a lot of Lupin specials. I think it's 5. Pretty sure it's 5. But these look really nice together. They do match up on a shelf very well. For me, the biggest benefit is I can have 1 case slot for these 5 instead of 5. Because these look nice with their spines and everything, and I like the years on them and, like, you know, all the artwork on them. But this is so much more of a safe shelf space saver than those 5 individual releases. And since it has everything on it, yeah, this is going to be my shelf for the foreseeable future. It's going to be this and the other collections. I'm planning on buying all the collections because the shelf space is valuable, and for me, that's the value in this set as a collector. Now, if you never got any of those previous singles of the specials, absolutely pick it up if you're building a Lupin collection. All right, this one's fun. We've got Headgear presents Patlabor, The Mobile Police, Early Days, the complete OVA series from director Mamoru Oshii. I read all the text on the front cover. So Patlabor is a mecha anime series, which, you know, we'd seen Discotek do a lot of mecha anime before, but they kind of slowed down because they started to hit the cap and the ceiling on some of it. But this one, from director Mamoru Oshii, who's known for Ghost in the Shell, this is a really kind of neat series where giant construction robots are commonplace, and so there is a special patrol robot that's built for the police force to use, and that is the AV-98 Ingram Unit 1, known as Alphonse. So this series is pretty well regarded. It's pretty well loved. It's actually getting a continuation, I think, starting this year, which is pretty awesome. And so we've got a brand new Blu-ray release of this, and I do mean brand new because Patlabor was previously released by Made in Japan, a division of Section 21 Films, who also owns Sentai Filmworks. Made in Japan's a kind of dead label at this point, so it seems like they have lost the rights to Patlabor, and so Discotek picked it up. And so there was a couple different releases, but, you know, for me, I had picked up the Made in Japan collection that they did, the Patlabor Complete Collection, which was this nice tight slipcover, which contained this collection, which has the original OVA series, which is what we got there. Patlabor The New Files, plus Patlabor the movie, Patlabor Movie 2, and World War III Patlabor 3, which were the movies. And then also the 47-episode TV show was in its own case. And I did appreciate that they put a timeline. So the timeline of these is there's 2 timelines. There's the movie timeline and the TV timeline. The movie timeline is the original OVA series, and then the 3 movies. Yes, Patlabor 3 takes place before Patlabor 2. And then the television timeline was the TV series, followed up with the New Files OVA. And this was just how they split them up in the cases, which is a little awkward, but that's how they did it here. And the New Files was 16 episodes, whereas the original OVA series was 7 episodes. So Discotek, now that they have the rights to Patlabor, are starting from the top with the first thing in the movie timeline, which is the OVA series. So I imagine, knowing how Discotek has operated in the past, they will continue forward. They'll do the movies probably next, and then they'll do the TV show and then the new files, which will be awesome. So the question, of course, when this got announced was, is this going to be any better than the Made in Japan release? Because that was the release that was around for the longest time. And you know what? That's a solid question. Can Discotek improve on the existing release and make it better? Well, of course, I'm going to compare and contrast the Made in Japan release to the Discotek release to see what kind of upgrades are in store for us with the new release of the series. So let's take a look at the Patlabor Made in Japan release first, and then the Discotek disc afterward. Okay, before we look at Discotek's, this is the Made in Japan release of Patlabor Mobile Police original OVA. I wanted to have a comparison from this to the Discotek release so that we see if there is a major difference between them. So on the language options for the Made in Japan release, you got English and Japanese with English subtitles as your two language options, which makes sense. Going back here, I'm going to hit play on an episode and we can take a look at stuff. Okay, let's start with the eye catch, the commercial break spot in the episode. You can see they put the Patlabor name in a similar font to the Japanese logo on the English subtitles there. All right, we have a sign here that says limit personal calls. All right, and here's where we can see the remaster. Now you can see that on the Made in Japan release, there are some specks and dirt, and you can kind of see there's just some film damage that may be indicative of the quality that it was kept in. But here's the subtitle here. This is at the 15:12 mark in the episode, and the line is, "I know it's sudden, but we're on the night shift and starting tonight." We will compare this to the Discotek release. This is kind of our test bed shot to work with here. And here's our Discotek Blu-ray for Patlabor Mobile Police Early Days Complete OVA series. So first of all, let's go with the basics. Set up English, Japanese, and you have the options of subtitles with full English or songs and signs are off, which is nice. A little bit more options than the Made in Japan release. Let's do an episode check. We're going to go once again to that same spot we just looked at. I will do a side-by-side. So first of all, we have a styled subtitle for the name Patlabor on the actual eye catch. This, I thought the Made in Japan one was good, but I think the Discotek one is even more of a closer fit. They are very good at subtitle styling. So a Discotek subtitle for the limit personal calls sign, you can see that it's done above the text as opposed to on top of the text, making it a little bit easier to read and looking a little bit more natural on the screen. So then back to our control shot, we can see that we've got, there's still kind of some of that grain and dirt. It doesn't look as bad. It looks a little bit more cleaned up, but I think it's the same video source. This could just be the way the disc was authored, but it does look a little bit better, but it is just kind of, I think, what the quality of the film print was that was available to work with. I don't know if Discotek did a new transfer. I think they just used the same HD transfer that already existed. The subtitle now reads, "I know it's sudden, but we're on the night shift starting tonight." Let's compare the two. We'll put the Made in Japan on top, the Discotek on bottom, so that way you can compare the way the lines are done. I do know that Discotek said they did do some subtitle tweaking for this, not just in styling, but I think they tweaked some of the lines. I'm just using this one as a test bed because it'd be hard to, again, do a side-by-side 2 TV setup to really compare and contrast. But for the most part, I think that the Discotek release is a bit of an upgrade in the subtitle styling, that's for sure. And then the other upgrade, you may have noticed on the Made in Japan release, there was no bonus features. There was none whatsoever, but here we have a commentary with director Mamoru Oshii on episodes 1 to 3. We have English dub outtakes and a vintage English dub trailer. So that is all nice to have because that wasn't on the previous release. And in terms of the commentary track, when you hit play on the commentary, it plays the episode. And so you can see here the subtitles appearing are going to be Oshii's comments, not the show itself. So for me, for someone that already had the Made in Japan release, I wasn't exactly sure if I wanted to rebuy Patlabor, but with the addition of bonus features, the upgrade in the subtitle styling, this is actually a pretty worthy upgrade. And if you never picked up the previous set from Made in Japan, this would be the time to start getting Patlabor. So if you're somebody that owns the Made in Japan release, do you want the Discotek release? It's going to be a bit of a tough question because obviously if you already have the entire series, it is kind of like, oh, do I want to double dip on everything? For me, yes. Bonus features being added to the Discotek release is a positive. Cleaned up subtitle work is a positive to me. In terms of if you just want to watch the show and you don't care about bonus features, If you have this, you'll probably be happy with this. Now, that being said, Discotek could do some amazing stuff with the rest of the Patlabor series past the OVA, and so you may want to get into on the ground floor of Discotek Patlabor. We'll see what happens. But for me, I am glad I picked up the Discotek release, and I'm looking forward to buying the rest of it, because I think that'll be a fun way to do it. And if you've never seen the series before and you've always been interested, Discotek releasing them and seemingly releasing them in order like they are, that'll be a great way to watch it as well. Knowing my core audience on this channel, this is probably the release you were looking forward for me to talk about, Kamen Rider Stronger. Now, this is a major release for several reasons. Not only is it great to get another Kamen Rider series officially licensed and released in North America, but Stronger also finishes the original Showa era of Kamen Rider. Because while Shout Factory has not released the original Kamen Rider on Blu-ray, it is still available on streaming. And so if you have original Kamen Rider streaming, you got V3, X, Amazon, and Stronger from Discotek, we now have the original Legendary 7 Kamen Riders era of Kamen Rider, the first continuous run of Rider from 71 to 76. And then after this, Rider took a bit of a break. So we are in good hands. We've finished the first era of Kamen Rider, which is very exciting, because I think that 5-show run is honestly one of the best 5-show runs the show has ever had. It's like the best chunk of shows, in my opinion. And this is really, really great to have a Blu-ray. For the cover art, we got Kamen Rider Stronger here. We also got Kamen Rider Stronger's Charge Up form with the spinning version of his logo. There's a couple different versions of the chest plate in the series. You can see on the spine, we got Stronger there. The Kamen Rider Stronger logo, which is kind of the Kamen Rider global logo plus Stronger written out in a fun font. We can see that it's Toku Time Release 21. On the back, Evil's in for a shock. Got a nice description there. We can see Tackle, Stronger and his partner Tackle, as well as Mr. Titan and General Shadow, two of the major villains. We've got we got Stronger on the Kabutora. We got Tackle fighting a villain. We got some cool shots from the series. Japanese audio only, region A, because Toei, and 39 episodes on 3 discs. And what's cool too is you got the interior art, which has Stronger as well as Tackle. Tackle's very important to the history of Kamen Rider for a lot of reasons. First of all, she's the first secondary warrior in Kamen Rider that's not a Kamen Rider. Secondly, she is the first female transformed warrior in the Kamen Rider franchise, which is really awesome. I do think that retroactively she should be considered a Kamen Rider based on how loose the definition of Kamen Rider is. But I think Tackle's impact has been profound, and we can see that in the Tojima Wants to Be a Kamen Rider anime series, has used her prominently. Alright, so on the inside we've got Disc 1, which has Stronger on it, Disc 2, which has Tackle, and then Disc 3, which has Mr. Titan and General Shadow. And then we can see in the background here we've got Stronger logo, plus a lot of the major villains with General Shadow leading them. So this is pretty exciting. I'm really, really excited to have Stronger on Blu-ray. It's one of my favorite shows of all Kamen Rider. And now we get to have it on beautiful Discotek Blu-ray. Let's take a look at the discs themselves. Kamen Rider Stronger, Disc 1, with episodes 1 through 13. Naturally, of course, we have our episode list there, which is the first 13 episodes of the show. Subtitles have on and off options. Let's take a look at picture quality. So picture quality on the intro is always going to look a little rough with these shows because the intro basically became stock footage after a certain point, but it still looks pretty good for what it is. You can also notice the lyrics to the theme song are down there at the bottom in blue italics. Title cards are presented in a font that matches the Japanese title card font, which I love to see. And as you can see, pretty great clear picture on the non-VFX shots of the show. When it's the raw camera footage, it looks really, really good, and it comes through quite well. And you can see even shots that have VFX added still look pretty solid. For a 70s Tokusatsu, this has made a great leap to HD Blu-ray. Alright, nothing really to note on Disc 2, it's just episodes 14 through 26, as you can see. 14 through 26, all right there. Alright, so on Disc 3, we got Stronger in his powered-up form, Stronger Charge Up. We get episodes 27 through 39, which has the crossover with the previous writers as well at the end. Subtitles on and off, and then extras. We only get a couple things here. So we got the shocking finale, Kamen Rider Stronger and the End of an Era, since this was the last sequential Kamen Rider show for a few years. That is an essay by Mike Dent, who's been doing essays about all the Kamen Rider shows to date from Discotek. We got a photo and art gallery, and we got the vintage transformation belt commercial. Now, fans might remember previous Kamen Rider Blu-rays we've gotten from Discotek, which includes Black, Black RX, and the previous Showa series after the original V3, X, and Amazon, all had interviews with cast and crew of the series. I'm going to show off the photo art gallery while I do this. They all had cast and crew interviews that were done for the anniversaries of those shows, because those were done for the Blu-ray releases in Japan. Well, unfortunately, majority of the cast for Kamen Rider Stronger passed away prior to that Blu-ray existing, so there's no interviews to have. I think Mr. Titan's actor is like the only principal cast member of the series that's still alive to this day. Stronger passed away, I think, over 10 years ago at this point. Tackle, she passed away in the 90s. It's very sad, but basically there isn't enough remaining cast to do those roundtable interviews like they did for the previous Blu-rays. So there just isn't that. It's not Discotek missing out on something, they just don't exist. But that being said, the actual essay, the photo art gallery, the original vintage transformation belt commercial, I do love a Henshin belt. So it's got bonus features still included. It's not completely bare of anything, but it is a little sad we couldn't have any interviews with the main cast. So you've been collecting your Kamen Rider Blu-rays diligently. Where does this go on the shelf? Well, naturally, in the Discotek section, it's going to go between Amazon and Black, because it came after Amazon, and there's a couple more shows before Black. And what's interesting is we did just get the announcement that Discotek will be releasing Sky Rider, which was the series that followed Stronger, came in after a several-year break in the franchise. And Sky Rider's never had a Blu-ray in Japan, but we're getting a full Blu-ray here from Discotek, which is amazing. It's the first time that Sky Rider will be in HD. So we can see here that we have all the shows. You can see that X, Amazon, and Stronger have smaller cases because they're much shorter shows. But yeah, there's our shows. So we're getting Sky Rider next, which means Super 1, and as well as the Zacross TV special and all of the movies is all we're missing from everything past the original Kamen Rider series, which I hope will still get a physical release in the future. Now, if you got your Media Blaster sets, you've got Kamen Rider Trilogy and Kamen Rider Dyad. I put those together just because they look good together. And then we have our Shout Factory Kamen Rider releases of Kuga, Ryuki, 01, and Geats. So there is all the current Kamen Rider Blu-rays in North America across 3 different publishers, Discotek, Media Blasters, and Shout. And we got that going on there. Very excited to see more, and I'm glad that we at least finished the original era. You know, there is a release of it, but I do really want the original Kamen Rider released, and I hope that it does come out on disc at some point. So this is a fun month of releases of Discotek stuff that, like always, is excellent. I'm pretty happy with everything as usual, and it's kind of cool to get a little upgrade, get a little new, and there's definitely more in the future. They've announced Sky Rider for Kamen Rider, they've announced Digimon Tamers, they got all kinds of cool stuff coming up. They're not stopping anytime soon, and neither am I, so hit subscribe and the notification bell so you don't miss out if you haven't already. Hit the comments down below, hit the like button while you're down there. All that helps the channel, helps these videos continue to come out on a regular basis, and I hope you will all enjoy these as we take a look at them. I'm very excited about the future of Discotek and Blu-rays from them. If you so wish, we have a Discord server. You can join and continue the conversation in the link below. You can also become a channel member, and there's perks available like early access to videos, as well as member-exclusive shoutouts. Let's give some special shoutouts to our channel members. Special shout out to all of our channel members, including these Captain Tier members: Spin-54, Forever1000, Master Ben 95, Super Shaddix Boom, Veloquince, Mr. Smelly Potato, Alt Mode Archive, Alice James, Taran Thomas, Guapo-san, Big Ray Daigo, and Ghost Spider. Thank you all for your support of this channel, viewers and channel members alike. If you so wish, I'm on social media on Blue Sky and Letterboxd at Soundout12. Find a wonderful graphic designer on social media and Discord at DarkClaw643. You can find Hero Club at HeroClub.com for anime and tokusatsu interviews and more. And until next time, this is Soundout saying, let's see what comes out in the next batch.